Now then, people, good morning. It is match day. Match day, folks. It is, of course, time for your live match preview. It's Leeds United versus Wolves. The Premier League season campaign kicked off yesterday. Yesterday. But now, it's Leeds United's game, right? It's Leeds United's game. Let me just put it out on social media that I am live now. As I say, I am doing a watch along later on this afternoon as well. I will be live from around about 2:30. I've decided, obviously, to do the watch-alongs. And also, like, what I will do is do a bit of a match preview on the morning of each game as well, so we can talk about the main talking points. Obviously, we know we've had the press conference. You know, we've had the Radrazani interview. We've had the Angus Kinnear interview on Square Ball, which was absolutely fantastic. Big shout out to Dan Moylan, who did that as well. And, yeah, we've got some notes and some things to go through concerning Leeds United versus Wolves, of course. If you don't know, or if you are not aware, please do like this video, subscribe to my channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. I want to shout out Lucy M and Bully B as well, who recently joined the JUSTJOE FC membership club. So thank you for those folks that are doing that now. Lewis is on his way down to the game. That's why I wanted to do this, so people could get involved on the way to the game and, you know, get a little bit of that match day excitement. Tony Clark says, morning, Joe, come on, Leeds. Senlab says about the short match preview on Twitter from Leeds United, chatting Leeds. Charlie's in the house, buzzing for this, can't wait. Come on, Leeds, let's smash Wolves. Let's hope we can do that. If you haven't already as well, please do join the Fantasy League. We've got over 500 people in there. I didn't get off to a great start. I got 2 points yesterday from Gabriel Jesus, but I've got Salah and he's my captain and they're playing Fulham. I reckon he'll score a hat-trick today, but I think everyone will have Fulham. We'll have Salah. The guy at the top, though, doesn't, right? So we'll be good. Lewis says it's a big one today. Steve says it's like Christmas Day. I know, right? It's exciting times. You can also join the Super 6 as well. I've got a Super 6 league running as well, where you predict 6 scores. If you get them right, you win $1 million, I think. I don't give you $1 million. That's from Sky, but we've got a league running on that as well. Senalab says, curious, as I'm an American, do you guys do pre-match barbecues in parking lots, or is that just an American football tradition? Yeah, I think that's an American football tradition. Although around the ground, we do have burger vans and pubs and stuff, so maybe that's something similar. Instead of a barbecue, we have burger vans with chips and curry and burgers and cheeseburgers, and they taste minging and they cost about $5.50 a go, £6 at some times. I'm a little bit gutted I'm not going. Obviously, you know I'm a season ticket holder. I've made a decision to do the watch-alongs, you know, and put everything into the channel. If it goes well, if not, I'll be back at games. It is what it is. Louis says he doesn't own Salah. KDB owner. There you go. You've gone for one primary asset. I've got Kane and Salah. They're my primary assets. So there we go. Simon Flynn says, the suspense is killing me. Will the formation compensate for the defensive frailties? Does the double pivot protect the back four sufficiently? Well, let's talk about the game. You'll be happy to know, okay, that Jesse Marsh is unbeaten in each of his last 5 opening games of the season. So the last 5 opening games, he hasn't lost one. He's won 4 and drawn 1. I'll take that all day. Yeah, if he remains unbeaten, that is good. That is a good omen, okay? In terms of how I believe Leeds United will line up, Simon, and we'll talk about that formation, I do think we'll see the exact same lineup that pulled up against Cagliari, which, of course, gives us... I want to know your lineups as well. Please put your lineups in the chat. For me, Meslier in goal, Rasmus at right back, Llorente and Koch at centre-back, and Strauch at left-back. You will have a double pivot of Adams and Rocker. Then behind Bamford, you'll have Brendan Aronson, Rodrigo, as we know him, and Jack Harrison. Yeah, I think that will be the lineup. I love this from Josie. He says, "Haven't lost the opening game of the season. Enter Leeds United." That is a very good point, actually, Josie. That is a good point, isn't it? It's like with me when I'm convinced if Leeds United do any business, that Bamford will get scored the game after the window will get injured the game after the window shuts, and we'll see Dan James play up top again. Munsey says, do I think Leeds will stay up? I do, mate. I'm aiming for a 14th. I think we'll go 14th. Lewis thinks Aronson will score. I think he might assist. I fancy Bamford. I'll give you my score prediction at the end. Make sure you get yours in as well. Matt said, I'd take a point today. I think it's going to take us a game or 3 to really get going. No, not for me, mate. We've got to get a win. Opening day of the season. We've got a good start to the season. Remember, we didn't pick up our first win until October last season. This season, it has to change. If we get off to a win, we've then got Southampton away. Can we go on Southampton and go get 3 points? I think we can. Then Chelsea at home. I think we need to get off to a fantastic start. So I want a win. Of course, depending on how the game unfolds, I'll take a point. But for me, you've got to win. You've got to want to win. Jamie says, we still need signings, but can't see it. I'm with you as well. Scott Lightning says, the team picks itself from most for want Gelhardt in front of Rodrigo. Yeah, no. I think it'll be the exact same lineup that we've seen against Cagliari, which is Meslier in goal, Rasmus at right back, Llorente in Cox centre back, Strauch at left back, Adams and Rocker in the double pivot, Aronson, Rodrigo, Harrison and Bamford. And just to give you a little bit of a stat, folks, so that, if it is that lineup, it'll be the first time since February 2015 against Middlesbrough that an LUFC lineup for a league game hasn't featured any of the starting 11 from that first game of Bielsa's against Stoke. So that's quite a big thing, isn't it? That really is the passing of the baton on now from the Bielsa era to the Jesse Marsh era. The fact that not one player who started in that game will be in this lineup. And obviously you've got Cooper. Even Bamford didn't start, although he was signed. It was Roof, wasn't it? We had BPF in goal, etc. So yeah, Snowell says it'll be a 4-2-3-1. I do believe that'll be the case as well. Senelab says, I think Gelhardt will be subbing in for Rodrigo. I think we will see Gelhardt at some point. Remember, there's 5 subs as well today. Ronan says, that's a great start. Thank you very much. I can't take the glory for it. It is off Twitter, but yeah, it is a great start and an interesting one, and really tells you that the Bielsa era has gone. If we look at Wolves just in a little bit more in depth, I think they've had an indifferent pre-season. They've only had the 1 win in pre-season. Their last lineup, I was watching Talking Wolves yesterday just to get a bit of an update on what their thoughts and feelings were. They believe they will have the same lineup that turned up against Sporting Lisbon. I think they drew that game 1-1. They have adopted a back 4. Obviously, we're so used to seeing Wolves now for season upon season under Nuno, and even when Bruno Lage took over, was the back 3 and the wing backs. But in pre-season, I think the Wolves fans were saying, because Wolves they haven't done any business, they've got 1 centre back in, and that was Nathan Collins from Burnley, that they believe Bruno Lage just said, well, do you know what? Like, I think, because they aren't backing me, I'm going to go out on my sword kind of vibe and go with how I prefer to play. Now, I know someone's just said in the chat there about Lage saying he might go with a back 5, so who knows? I just think the majority of pre-season we've seen a back 4. The fact that their last pre-season game was a back 4. Normally, your last pre-season game is saved for that lineup, right? Yeah, the one you're going to start the season with. Of course, the thing is about Bruno Lage, and I made this on my notes, he is very tactically fluid. He does change in-game. It's not like one and that's it, we're done. He will make changes here and there. So that could happen. So their lineup in that game was Jose Sarr, Johnny at right back, Collins and Kilman. Remember, no Cody. Cody, better in a back 3. Apparently, he's opting for a move. I think Everton are sniffing about him because he wants to stay in that World Cup squad. He knows if he's not starting at Wolves, he's not going to get in there. So he's not in the bench, which is quite a surprise for, I think, fans outside of Wolves, right? Because we're so used to seeing Cody with Wolves, quite synonymous with Wolverhampton Wanderers. So their back 4 will be Johnny, new signing Collins, Max Kilman, and left back Aitonori, who I believe may be linked to City now that they've missed out on Cucurella. Aitonori is a very, very decent and able left back and a great talent. So be interesting to see how he gets on. The midfield 3 will probably be Neves, Moutinho, and Dendoncker. You'll have Morgan Gibbs-White and Pedro Neto, and I think Podence has been playing up front instead of Raul Jimenez. Obviously, Raul Jimenez has got an injury. That's good for us because Raul Jimenez is their top boy. He's the one that links the play, holds it up, brings others into play. And I'm interested to see Morgan Gibbs-White as well. Of course, Leeds United was sparingly linked. I don't think we were ever in for him, but there was a lot of talk about him. He needs to be given a chance at Wolves, obviously. If not, other clubs will come in for him. He had a great season last season for Sheffield United in the Championship, so it'll be interesting to see how Gibbs-White gets on. And it's Gibbs-White, Neto and Podence that I'm most concerned about from a Leeds United perspective, because more specifically Neto, because we know Leeds United frailties come in the full-back areas. We've seen that in pre-season. It's something that's a byproduct of Jesse Marsch's system, that in transition, if we lose the ball, if we commit too many bodies forward, then you have someone like a Neto, Gibbs-White, Podence as well running at that back. I'd say a back four, but we look that vulnerable and open, it'll be a back two. It'll be the two centre-backs for me. Like, if they do manage to nick the ball from us and get it out, they have great passes in the ball of Moutinho, Neves, so they can cause us problems. And I agree with Jamie. They're not a bad team. Can't see a win. He'll take a draw. I want us to win. They are not a bad team. You're right. Their starting 11 is very, very strong, but they don't have great depth. The only signing coming in the summer, as I mentioned, is Nathan Collins, who could make his debut. As an opposition fan looking at Wolves, I'm not overly convinced with Collins and Kilman as a centre-back partnership. Just my opinion. I might be wrong. And I think if Leeds do go out aggressive and press from the front as we expect to do, that we can cause that back four problems, catch them by surprise with the tactics that we'll adopt. Yes, we're known as being a pressing side for quite some time, but it's a different kind of press. For Leeds United under Jesse, it's more of a situational press. If certain things happen, then we hunt in packs. And I think that we can get joy from Collins and Kilman, in my opinion. In my opinion, I might be wrong. Bjorn says Wolves are dirty and boring. I think we may see a change from that, mate, now that, there's no Bolly, there's no Cody. Of course, I might be wrong. They may adopt a back five, which probably would be a better suited, opposition to our tactics, and we might see him change to that. But I think personally, he'll start with that back four, and if Leeds start front foot, aggressive from the start, we could catch them cold. Of course, the atmosphere will play a massive part. The Leeds fan will be massively up for the game as well. It's going to be a great atmosphere down at Ellen Road today. And like Reggie said, I'm just, super excited about it as well. Of course, like Marsch said in his press conference when asked specifically about Wolves, he mentioned their defensive capabilities. But like I said, when you listen to Wolves fans, they expect to be a little bit more open now with that back four, and they expect them to adopt a much higher line than they've done previously. And that's why I think we can get at Wolves today. I'd be less confident if they did go with that back five. And that's why maybe Bruno Lage might go with that back five. Look at Leeds United, how we prefer to play, and say, you know what, I'm probably best off going with the back five for this game. But I just don't know, because why would you go with the back four the majority of pre-season, your last pre-season game, and then switch it up? But if they are going to play with a high line, and are going to be more open from the back, that's better for Leeds United. We've seen what Brendan Aronson can do from them central spaces, and the ball that he played through for Bamford for his goal against Cagliari, we could see something like that. Of course, Wolves as well, they fell off the cliff towards the back end of the season. If you remember, before we played them, when we got that 3-3, when we won 3-2, when we came back from 2-0 down, when Jimenez was sent off, they fell off a cliff after that. There was Wolves fans talking about there was a conspiracy against them getting into Europe and, the top six and all this. We've been there as Leeds fans. We said the EFL was corrupt and that. We say these crazy things as fans of football clubs, but from that Leeds game, really, they dropped off a cliff. They weren't in great form, as I say, and they didn't end the season well. They had a run of no clean sheets across the final 9 games, so they were conceding a lot of goals. And they have the longest current winless run of any Premier League side ahead of the new season. Of course, you could say that doesn't really matter, Joe, it's the new season, but it just shows you how poorly they ended last season. That's maybe why Bruno Lage has decided to rip it up a bit and go with a back 4 potentially. So that's something to think about from a Leeds United perspective as well. They drew 2 and lost 5 of their last run of games, and no clean sheets in 9. No clean sheets in 9. So if that continues, then Leeds United should get amongst them. Runo Press says, good luck to them with the high line. We'll play into our press well. That's what I'm saying. Listening to Wolves fans, they made the point as well of saying we'd probably be better going with a back 5 against Leeds United. Whether Bruno Lage will do that, like Blame Lewis says, it's a 4-3-3 from their digital program, which, midfield 3 of Neves, Moutinho, Dendoncker, and Gibbs White, Neto, and Podence. As I say, I am worried about them in transition, catching us on the counter, if you like, with the likes of Neto running in behind, especially causing problems for our high fullbacks. And he's a top player. Oscar, if you want the Super 6, it's in the description on this video. Same with the Fantasy League. You just click it. It'll take you through it, straight through. If you're not logged in, people keep messaging me, what's the code? Make sure you're logged in on the app. And when you click it, it'll just take you through to the league. Same with the Super 6. Nemi says, hello from Thailand, Joe. Can't wait to see Harrison shine today. I agree with you as well. Simon says, morning, Joe. Watching on my break at work. 3-1 Leeds today. Bamford brace and a late goal from Harrison. I like that, mate. I do like that. If we look at the previous head-to-heads between the two sides as well, obviously last season we had a 94th minute penalty. Rodrigo scored that when Joffy came on. Joffy came on and really injected something into the game. That's what he does. He comes up clutch. He won the penalty after riding a few challenges, and Rodrigo dispatched it at Ellen Road on the 94th minute. And then, of course, down at Molineux, we came back from 2-0 down. Jimenez got sent off, if you remember, and we scored them 3 goals. Another youngster came up clutch in them moments as well. Sam Greenwood, I think he got 2 assists on that day. Obviously, Luke Ayling scoring the winner, and it was absolute scenes in that game as well. You can go back and watch some of the Wolves highlights on my channel. I've got a little, what do they call it? A playlist there if you want to remind yourself of them games from last season. In terms of head-to-head streaks as well, this is where, if you're a betting man and you like to have a little dabble, have a listen to this. So Leeds have no clean sheet in 7 games against Wolves, okay? There's something in that, right? We have not kept a clean sheet in 7 games against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So do expect them to score. And Wolves have scored first in the last 7 meetings and have been winning at half-time in 5 out of the last 7 games as well. So with that in mind, in terms of a score prediction, or if you're a betting man, you may go Wolves half-time, Leeds full-time. You may go 2-1 Leeds United. That would be my pick for score prediction today. I expect Wolves to score just because history tells us that's what will happen. I do think they will cause us problems with Morgan Gibbs-White and Pedro Neto running at us, getting in behind. And like I said, they've scored first in the last 7 meetings as well. So something to be wary of. And like Samuel Gross says, Pascal versus Neto will be big today. Yeah, whichever side, Neto or Morgan Gibbs-White, the fullbacks both will have it all to do. And the concerning is from a Leeds United fan, I don't want to see us be so open in them moments, because if that happens, then the blueprint is set early doors for teams against Leeds United. And if we look across the Premier League, there are wingers aplenty. There are inside forwards aplenty that could rip us to shreds. And that's not being negative. That's just going on what I've seen so far in pre-season, okay? Of course, if they do play with the back 4, if they do play with the high line, we can get after them. We can spring attacks, catch them cold, if you like. I expect Leeds United to come out aggressively. I do. We know what Jesse's like. He'll have them pumped right up. Sometimes he can over-pump them. I genuinely think that. But they will be pumped. They will start from the off. I think we will start really well. And if we can score in the first 15 to 20 minutes, we'll be good. We'll be good. We don't want to let Wolves get into, a foothold in the game. You know, it was interesting seeing how Jesse went for his team against Cagliari and just got them to attack openly from minute one right till the end. We scored 6 goals. If we can have something like that, it's fine. I've got a vibe that that Leeds United will be like that Newcastle side under Kevin Keegan, where we just score more than you. I think it could be exciting in that respect. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Senelab says, calling the first upset today. Fulham beat Liverpool 2-0. Not a cat in hell's chance. They'll win about 4-0. And I think Salah will score plenty. So keep getting your comments in. Give me your score predictions and thoughts on the game, folks, right? Robert Hall says it's going to be open massively at the start of the season, I think. Hopefully this is something we've not perfected yet, rather than a quality gap. Bjorn says, Moutinho is 35 and slow. Neves and Dendoncker is not the fastest either. If they play a higher line, we can take advantage of that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they indeed do that. Oipers says, Pascal will get ripped when he comes up against a player with pace. I agree. You know, I like Pascal. He's a centre-back, though. He's not a left-back. Of course, he's just filling a gap while we wait for Firpo, but I think we should go out and address that. Danny Rumsey's going 4-0, if that's to Leeds or maybe to the Fulham one, I'm not sure. Grizzlies got Leeds 2, Wolves 2. Wuxia Games has got Leeds 3-1. Gaz has got Leeds 4-1. Aronson masterclass today. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see him. I'm really looking forward to seeing the double pivot of Rocker and Adams as well in the Premier League, seeing how they get amongst it. Because as a midfield trio, in terms of Dendoncker, Moutinho and Neves, they are decent, right? Neves has been touted to a move to Manchester United a number of occasions. He's a top player. Moutinho, experienced at the top level of the game, and again, a very good player. So I'm interested to see how they get on in the middle of the park. I think Leeds United can win the game. As I say, I think specifically if they go with this back four, it gives Leeds United more chances, in my opinion. And hopefully they go with a high line. Robert Hall has gone with 2-2. Danny Rumsey has said, yeah, it was 4-0 to Leeds. Marcus has got 2-1 Leeds. Ethan, 3-1 Leeds. Tim's got 2-1. A lot of Leeds United wins, 2-1, 3-1. I do think Wolves will score. Adams got 4-1 Leeds. Derek with 3-1 as well. Yeah, this is a concern in it. At this level, any weakness in the side will be found out, and left back is a big issue. That's something we need to be conscious of as well. Tommy makes a great point. Rocker to get his first card. Yeah, if you're thinking of having a bet on a card, then Rocker probably would be your man if you fancied that. Dave Long's gone 3-0 to Portugal. Yeah, it's Portugal versus USA today, isn't it? Simon says, look, I can't predict a score for today. Just get off to a positive start. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Like, as long as we win the game or we look good, what I don't want is the system to not look great and us get beaten comfortably, because then straight away for me, questions need to be asked about what we're going to do moving forward. I think the fixtures have been very favourable to Leeds United. I think it's a good start to start at home. Jesse will have them pumped. History is on our side in terms of Jesse is unbeaten in each of his last 5 opening games. I think the team selection is decent enough if we go with the same lineup we did against Cagliari. I think Bamford showed against Cagliari he's back, not quite 100%, but his movement was bob on, and he found the back of the net, which is important. Big performance from Rodrigo. I'm still not convinced. Obviously, I know he scored a hat-trick against Cagliari or 2 and an own goal, but we'll have to wait and see how this game unfolds. But I do fancy Leeds United to win, and I think we win 2-1. I do think Wolves will score, though. It'd be nice if we could keep a clean sheet. But like I say, as a Leeds United fan, as soon as any game starts or you look at a lineup, you're just looking at the wingers, because that's where we're weakest, right? That's where we're weakest. I don't see Jesse ripping it up. It's quite interesting hearing Angus Kinnear in the Square Ball podcast when he said after the game against Cagliari, when they were 3-2 up, they asked him the question, why didn't you sit the midfielders in, protect the lead, etc. And he said that, Jesse said, because I knew we'd go on and score 6. I mean, that shows you that swashbuckling will score more than you guess, state going into games. So I think Jesse will do that attack from the front and just try score more than the opponent and not worry too much. It's like he said, don't play with width because the goals are not out wide. They're central. I don't worry about the opposite flank because the ball's over this side. So we all press down one side. But of course, if you've got someone who can spray a pass like a Neves, like a Moutinho, they will find that fullback, if you like, that winger. Aitanuri is one to be careful of. We know Johnny likes to get forward as well. And then obviously you've just got to be conscious of the front three of Podence, Gibbs White and Neto. The fact they don't have Jimenez is a big plus for Leeds United. But yeah, key things to watch is of course, Leeds United fullback areas. And we've just got to make sure that we create chances, because in the Crystal Palace game and in the Aston Villa game against better opposition, we didn't create an awful lot. If we're being honest, it'll be interesting to see how key set pieces are as well. We know that Jesse puts special focus on them, so it'll be interesting to see how we do from that respect. But I'm just really excited that football's back. I will be live from 2:30, reacting to the lineup, and then of course doing the watch along as well. So please do join me for the watch along if you can. If you're not at the game, please do that. Sean says it's like a narrow version of the Bielsa ball. I'm not too sure about that in terms of the way that we build up attacks. It's very direct as opposed to how Bielsa opted to build attacks, and Bielsa built from out wide as well, right? But yeah, listen, join me from 2:30 for the watch along. Smash a like on this video before leaving, and yeah, enjoy Liverpool versus Fulham, and I'll see you back here at 2:30. Thank you very much for watching. That was a quick match day preview. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, I will have my post-match out as well after the game as well. So thank you as always for tuning in. And I'll see you in a bit. And yeah, smash a like, and I'll catch you all a little bit later on. Hopefully we won't be hearing this today.
Stupid little plonker, Rodney.
Maybe scoring a hat-trick like he did in pre-season. I'll see you all in a bit. Thank you very much. Cheers.